everyone. Welcome to the Melancholy Coaching Podcast. I'm Fran, your host and NLP coach. Join me as I interview inspiring business owners and self-improvement seekers about their experiences whilst delving into personal development, motivation and strategies for overcoming challenges. Let's ignite our creative potential together. Hello everyone and welcome to the Melancholy Coaching Podcast. I'm Fran, your NLP coach, and I'm excited to introduce an empowering guest, pioneering health transformation expert who has helped thousands of patients across 2 decades achieve lasting health breakthroughs. Creator of the Iron Clad Immunity Method, Dr. Ben combines ancient wisdom with modern science to address the root causes of chronic health challenges. His approach transcends conventional medicine by focusing on the mind-body connection, helping patients reverse conditions like diabetes, autoimmunity, and inflammatory disorders, which sounds incredible. Gifted speaker and passionate educator, Dr. Ben leads an international community of ironclad warriors, which also sounds very exciting, by the way, who have achieved what they once thought impossible. His work is driven by a simple yet powerful belief. Transformation begins in the mind and the body follows, which I thoroughly agree with, by the way. I think that's amazing. So Dr. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm really
It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
I'd like to just begin by asking you a question, like a burning question of mine.
Okay,
So
cool.
your
Shoot.
Ironclad Immunity Method. So this uniquely blends ancient traditions with modern scientific insights as such. So could you give us an example of an ancient practice that you've incorporated? And if you're able to kind of, how does it work alongside the scientific understanding?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I Probably the best example is that the mind is where most of our problems start with, right? Let's
Yeah,
think about
agree.
it from the perspective of a lot of inflammation. Really, probably the worst diseases of modern day society, say heart disease, a lot of data and science about cancer as well. A lot of the addictive things from alcoholism to food addictions. If you look at obesity rates, all these kinds of things, how they're tied to cancer, all that stuff comes from the same sort of problem. And I think we all know what this problem is. It's like, well, maybe some of us are just maybe born with amazing discipline. I certainly wasn't. And it's not just having one ice cream that gets you in trouble, it's having like 10 a day for an over exaggeration, right? It's not having one beer, it's having 20, you know? So the interesting thing about it is it's a willpower thing in a way. And as an NLP a practitioner and coach yourself, you understand how our minds really create the experience for us and how it makes us feel and how we kind of live out of these programs, right?
Yeah, I
So
believe that our minds create our reality.
absolutely, right? So a lot of times what we'll see in Ironclad is the exact same meditative, maybe to answer your question more directly, the exact same meditative processes that you have to go through to do a simple meditation or maybe even an advanced meditation has a discipline component for your mind. So let's say like a yoga nidra, if you're familiar with yoga nidra. It's
A
still
little bit.
no, okay. Well, just any like a Zen meditation practice. You're sitting
Yeah.
in a Zen meditation and you get your body in a posture, and you can even think of this to a degree of Tai Chi or some other sort of Qigong kind of practice. You have to tell your body to stay. Like a colleague mentor of mine, Joe Dispenza, says, I'm going to tell my body to sit like it's an animal and it's going to listen, right? That simple body stay, don't move. If you have an itch, I'm not going to scratch it. That simple mind ability to be able to do that in other meditation practices, but focuses on your breathing, all those types of things build a part of your brain that Huberman talks about. I won't get into the technical aspects of the neurology, but the part of your brain that allows you to be stronger in getting yourself to do something. So it's kind of a backdoor way using these different meditative practices at the right time to kind of trick people into getting willpower. So it's a really interesting thing. Aside from that, being able to grow in willpower, you also get incredible reductions in the amount of stress that you have, how you feel stress-wise. Um, like we were just at this, I'll give you an example from our last week with our group. One of our amazing members, I asked her, I said, so when you tell yourself she wants to eat sweet stuff, right? That's one of her things. So a lot of people have this. They eat one cookie and becomes another, and then the whole bag's gone. And so she's trying to overcome that. And I said to her, so what happens when you tell yourself no? And she says, well, I get this feeling inside myself like I'm not celebrating myself, like I was a good girl. I need to get my cookie, or I need to get my dessert, right?
So it's a reward then.
Yeah, right. It's I
Yeah.
give me this reward. I feel like I'm punishing myself when I don't have that cookie. So I said, well, let's talk a little bit about that. So basically, what she was able to experience is to understand that feeling of disappointment, that feeling of I told myself no, and now there's this. Ugh. You can do meditative practices, kind of discharge that feeling without
And
going into
it's
that.
hard to sit with those feelings of
Yeah.
disappointment though.
Yeah, but so the thing is that you can, through the meditations we teach people, disperse that energy instead of
Mm.
sometimes it's a simple thing of distraction. Okay, well, are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to do a hobby? Are you just going to distract yourself with some other
Mm.
sort of thing? In the beginning, some people need to kind of do that. I could give you an example from our process that has to do with like alcohol. But it really does boil down to the same willpower that you need to sit and do a meditation builds up a certain kind of awareness and ability to pick another path to disperse that energy.
So I
Um,
presume that works the same for if give you an example, say if it's that cookie,
yeah,
so it's not a reward as such, it's that this you want the second cookie to taste as good as the first cookie, and it doesn't, but maybe the third cookie will taste as good as the first cookie. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
chasing that feeling.
absolutely. Yeah, that's
So I
definitely
presume it would
one.
work the same.
Yeah, but it's more about it's more about the feelings you get when you resist yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So we have this voice in our head that's telling us, I want to do this. A lot of times it's programming. We talk a lot about this as we go through the gauntlet. But it really does boil down to the ability to get yourself to do what you want yourself to do or to resist your own urges, to not go into an unconscious state and just react. It's one of the reasons why the yogis and a lot of these really spiritual people have really, really great willpower is because the true ones is that through the meditation practice, you learn to master yourself, and mastering your brain masters everything else. So you're able to,
Yeah.
and it's not, you don't struggle. It's not like it's hard. It's an easy thing to do because, oh, I'm feeling this tension. I know how to disperse that tension right away. A lot of
The,
people are
th- the
running.
thing the thing
Yeah.
is though, it's it's the hardest thing in the world if you don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people feel like and a lot of people just are unconsciously reacting.
Yeah.
They just are enacting, in patterns that they've established. And we talk about this in a part of this. What we do in Ironclad, through the course of the 3 months, the first month is really about awareness, growing the awareness, which helps people make changes, the awareness of what their individual problems are. And not necessarily the food things. You learn a lot about that too, but it's
Yeah. I
much.
tell you, that was kind of an example, wasn't it? So it could, it covers other areas as well, not just food.
Well, I mean, we try to keep Ironclad incredibly simple. You can pretty much think about it as that we have a food challenge every week and we have a mental challenge every week. And they start off really simple because we have people that are incredibly advanced meditative practitioners. But what we've found as well, most of the people that start Ironclad are good at like one or two kinds of meditation. They haven't done I mean, when I was 18 years old, and this isn't a bragging thing, but well, actually, I wanted to be Tibetan monk. I applied to go to a monastery.
Oh, I love that.
And I was denied because I thought I had it when I was 18. But I'm grateful because I was just so passionate about it. And I've done a lot of work and I most recently completed a yoga nidra a training course with Tanis Fishman, who's amazing. She actually made some meditations for our group originally. It was in one of her meditations that I got the inspiration to create Ironclad. But um, so the different paths that we walk and the different meditation practices, they kind of all are woven together in the same area. And you'll have people that are amazing, and we have practitioners that are amazing at Qigong or I live in the Netherlands. I'm from the United States, but I live in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And you have Wim Hof practitioners, right? You know, everybody, most people knows the guy with the beard, and he goes in, you know who Wim Hof is? He goes in he's the Iceman. He goes in cold water and he climbs to the
Right.
top of
Okay.
mountains and you see
Yeah.
him in snow and he's in his shorts and
That sounds quite extreme.
well, there's some really good stuff to do that. The
Yeah.
benefits of cooling your body down for anti-inflammatory effects. There's a lot of
Oh,
really
no, see,
interesting.
that's why people have ice baths and things like that. And
Yeah.
I've actually been in like a cryo chamber where you
Yeah.
go in and it's like
Really
freezing
cold.
temperatures. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's all monitored and everything, and it's meant to have a lot of
Mhm.
health benefits.
Yeah,
So
that's how
yeah, I
that
get it.
works. It kind of helps to break the inflammation cycle. And
Yeah,
we have, for example, in Iron Clad, we have a week where we work on that, and we do the breathing exercises because the deep breathing exercises, the different kind of yogic breathing is we also go through phases of that in our program. And why? Because they take people to different states. So as we walk through the Iron Clad Gauntlet, we call it a gauntlet because it's continually challenging the people who do Ironclad to grow, mainly mentally. There's every week like a physical challenge as far as
but
food goes.
it's nice to have that kind of almost like a token of recognition that you're progressing.
Yeah, well,
It's
depending on what the goals, which is it's really
mm,
interesting as well. We've had members, a lot of the members that we've had through the years, especially the ones we have now, are unfortunately dealing with cancer.
okay.
So we've got people that are struggling with that. Either they've had it before or they're actively dealing with it. We've had, sadly enough, members who were kind of given up on, and it was sort of their last hope kind of thing. And they're all doing great. Diabetics as well, because again, this stuff goes down to food related choices.
Yeah,
Cancer is a little bit different in the sense that the food things are sometimes we have to, like with every single member, some members need to have things a little bit tailored to them because of where they're at and what their goals are.
yeah, I
But the
understand.
program is largely the same. Let's take, for example, we have members, for example, who want to gain weight, which is
Yeah,
weird. But you'd think, well, what does somebody who wants to gain weight and someone who wants to lose it have in common? Well, I want to give you one great example. It both has to do with stuff that they're either eating or they're not eating, right?
yeah. Or
Or,
possibly just to do with their bodies. Like I give you a personal example. One of my daughters has epilepsy,
uh-huh,
and she's relatively what would be classed as thin. She's tall, but she's a very small build, and
right.
doesn't put on any weight. And some of that's due to her medical condition and the
Hmm.
medication that she takes. She just doesn't put weight on. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
if she had more kind of, help with her mind, and then what to feed her body with.
right. Well, let's go on an example of that, for example.
Yeah,
How old is she?
she's 27.
27. Okay. Um, there's a lot of what I've seen a consistent thing with people who struggle gaining weight is generally they one of the sensations that we get people to learn about is do you have the feeling how do you like the feeling of an empty stomach as opposed to the feeling of a full stomach? Okay. Personally, for me right now, I've been fasting for 2 days. I've only had water for the last 2 days. So I know I'm very intimately right now what the feeling of an empty stomach is like. There's nothing in there except just some water. That's it, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I do this as part of my own practice and other things that I've done. And there's reasons why we're getting ready to guide people in the end of our group in 3 weeks. Um, but for example, it's very similar in a way because this sensation, I had to learn to know it. I'm not dying, nothing's bad's happening. I had to learn to appreciate it. Whereas people who are generally very skinny, they generally like the feeling of having nothing in their stomach. They don't like the feeling of, I just ate a big meal and it's just sitting there. We've all had a meal like that that doesn't sit right with us, right? It's just
Yeah.
kind of a big lump. Just, oh, it feels heavy. They don't like that sensation, whereas people who generally struggle to lose weight do not like the sensation of an empty stomach. They like that feeling. They want that feeling of there's something hearty and heavy. So it's,
Yes, I suppose it's almost I was just thinking actually, I think she may actually even be 30.
I
I always get the ages of my daughters wrong.
won't
Um,
tell.
yeah, I understand that feeling of full because that can also be a comfort,
Right. Yeah. And so it's,
like a hug,
yeah.
even if
And
it's
that
damaging. Yeah.
only a handful of reasons why people eat stuff at all anyway.
Mm.
We eat stuff because of ritual, because it's just the
Mhm.
time of the year to eat it.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, having lived in, I grew up in the States and I moved here, and they have, the Sinterklaas, Saint Nick thing where they have these little pepper nut cookies. They're these sort of a gingerbread cookie kind of little round things with these really not very tasty candies. Why, oh why they give them out by the handful to everybody, all the kids at around that time? Why is that? Why do we eat a turkey in the United States at
I think some
Thanksgiving?
of it's some kind of I mean, you said ritual, but similar to conditioning in a way. Like,
Yeah,
especially if you're in a nine
absolutely.
to five or something, when
Yeah.
I've worked 9 to 5 jobs, it's been that's your break time, that's your lunch time,
Yeah.
whether you're hungry or not, you kind of
Yeah.
made to go at those times. So it's a
What
conditioning.
what other animal in nature eats 3 meals a day?
I know a few that would if they had an opportunity to. So, whether they should or not is another matter.
Yeah. So, but this isn't about how many meals a day that you eat. It really, but it's just an example of why do we react to some programming. I mean, the reason why, for example, do you know why we eat turkey in the United States for Thanksgiving?
Um, no, actually, I don't. I feel like I should know. I
No,
don't.
no,
Just for reference, I'm in the UK, so for anybody listening, I'm British. So
yeah. So but everybody, about the tradition, right? The turkey and the Thanksgiving and gravy and all that kind of stuff, and
probably similar
everybody,
to a British Christmas.
yeah, what you see, yeah. Sometimes we'll have that. My family, we did have that for Christmas too, but that's the traditional Thanksgiving thing. The reason is that there was, after the World War II, there was a magazine called the Saturday Evening Post. And I think Norman Rockwell painted a painting called, I think it's called no pain or harvest. He painted a painting that became very famous. It's a very famous image. It's a woman and she's got a big turkey and she's at the head of the table and all the kids are, there's this lifestyle, and it was on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post and it became like the synonymous image of what is associated with Thanksgiving. And that's why every family needed a big turkey with, because it just because of that one image
This
became,
this also then goes into some kind of commercialism and very good marketing as well.
yeah, yeah,
Bit
well,
bit like bit like things like diamonds.
yeah,
It's all to
it,
do
I
with
mean,
the marketing of them.
Coca-Cola, the
Mm,
Coca-Cola snow to polar bears with Santa Claus drinks Coca-Cola. I've seen families in the United States where people put out Coca-Cola. One of the tradition is cookies, but because Santa Claus on the commercials, the kids want to leave a Coca-Cola for 'em. I mean, but it's really good marketing. It's bonding, and
yeah,
your product is being linked to this
yeah.
ritualistic thing. So that's just
So
one
so I
example.
so it kind of almost would make our brains feel safe around that, and that's potentially why some people are more for Coca-Cola than Pepsi. It's that kind of that loyalty and that
Exactly.
marketing, and we can do the same things to our own selves, can't we?
Yeah,
Under those
without,
things that we do or those things that we think, it's all to do with those conditioning or those rituals that we've got. But the habits can
yeah,
be broke. They
yeah,
can be made more
yeah.
healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very, very good, yeah. One of the rich, so what we do through the process, the gauntlet, is we're breaking those rituals consciously,
Yeah.
by generally shutting down the things that, for example, I really do love and enjoy different kinds of special beer. It's one of my favorite things. But Why is it that, so there's certain sort of times where I really want one. For example, a nice warm summer day and you're at a terrace or something and you're at, oh, it'd be nice, you know. On other times, I don't want one at all, but there's a
So they're
ritualistic
linked
time.
together.
Yeah. And so you're aware of that. And it's like, well, now we're in season, we're going, but I don't have to do that. We
Mm.
went, for example, to a really cool festival last summer, and we were sober the entire time, had nothing to drink, and really consciously made the decision of doing that to change it. Fasting is a great way to just not only limit that, but limit all food and see where
Yeah.
your routines, it's a huge reset button for your whole life and your psyche. And but yeah, that's the sort of stuff that we get into in Ironclad, and why we like to do that. And we use every week a new meditative practice because
Only I'd heard of meditation,
uh-huh,
and I've kind of know people that have done it, and I didn't actually, I say give it a try. I didn't actually give it a try myself until what part of my story is that I've had depression for many, many years, and it hit really badly during menopause. I'm
yeah.
age 55 now, and the menopause hit me quite hard. I was very depressed and felt that I needed to try and help myself. And I started using a mindfulness practice, and I wasn't aware of mindfulness either, which I now
Mhm.
think is absolutely shocking that I was in my 50s and hadn't heard, I was approaching 50 and didn't realize what mindfulness was. I
Yeah.
feel like some of these things we should know when we're younger.
Well,
But just how much difference would it make to us as human beings if we knew some of this stuff?
it absolutely. I've kind of come around to the idea that everybody has it. We just don't call it that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because actually thinking about it, I had sat and smelt that cup of coffee and lingered over it and but hadn't realized what I was doing. So that
It,
yeah, I
it's
do
that
believe that's
you
true.
bring like the conscious intention into it, but you take anybody like a musician. It's
Mm.
a meditation to practice your instrument a lot of times, you know, or
Yeah,
sometimes cleaning for somebody is a meditation. They love it. They
I
get into
love
the
cleaning.
flow, right? You get into the zone, and
Don't even start me because I love that. I've
yeah,
got
right?
I've got
Because
another I've got another specific question for you, if
yep,
that's
okay,
okay.
cool.
If that's all
I
right,
We can
yeah.
go keep going.
So no, that's okay. Just want to like because I've got a few like a couple of questions just linked around your
Okay.
more specifically about what you do. So in your experience, what are some common misconceptions people have about immunity and overall health?
Um, Misconceptions about um, overall health, and what was the other one?
Yeah, like their immunity,
Immunity and overall
yeah,
health.
and over
Oh,
and
okay.
overall health.
Great
Yeah.
question. Misconceptions generally, people, unfortunately, it's one of the difficult challenges. Maybe back up a little bit of like marketing what Ironclad
Yeah.
does, because every marketer's like you need to go down to like one niche, like one thing,
Right.
and
Okay.
health
Yeah.
is a total body thing. Your immune system, you can't just be like I'm just going to boost that and I'm not going to worry about the other structures and functions of
Yeah,
the
I hear
body.
you. So it's that kind of thing of, oh, I need to give my immunity a boost. I'll take some vitamin C for 5 days, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily going to do the job overall,
Well,
is it?
if that's the only thing you were deficient on and everything else was good, then that's fine. But it's generally way
You'd
more.
have to know, wouldn't you? You'd have to have had those tests done,
Mhm.
presumably, to
And not
know.
only just that, like it's the factors you can look at it. Let's look at health from uh, first off, my definition of health is that you when we say something is healthy, it is increasing or when something's unhealthy, it increases our risks of having something negative happen to us.
Okay.
It makes us more likely to have a negative health event, right? And when something's healthy, it decreases our risk. Well, it's challenging because, like water is really healthy, but if it can also drown you and you can drink so much you'll die. So it's like they have a saying in German, it's like it's the quantity that makes the poison. So like kind of back to what I said about it doesn't matter. It's not one ice cream, it's 100 ice creams. Now, I don't eat that, but some people do. It's not
Yeah.
one beer. I like that. It's 20 or 30 or, continual too much, too many. Anything out of balance is going to create you problems. And it's because our body functions as a doctor. You learn this about the fundamental idea of homeostasis, that everything needs to function and work within balance. The nervous system is divided into two main functions. You have the parasympathetic system and the sympathetic system. Sympathetic is the blood goes to your brain, into your arms, and it's like fight. You got to fight or flight, got to go, right? Pedal to
Yeah.
the metal. Sympathetic is modern day society, going, going, going all the time. Phones that are alerting to us. We're constantly on the go. We don't have any time to relax. You just come home and you crash. Parasympathetic is after you've had that big, huge Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, and you're just like full, and you're gonna. Parasympathetic is sleep. It's the mode we generally allow ourselves to go into on vacation. It's one of the reasons why people like get sick right away, because their immune system has finally had the opportunity to kind of work stuff out and yeah, sort of
Okay.
it
You
reacts,
said
it boosts because you're giving it rest.
you said something of interest there. You said allow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like we allow
yeah,
ourselves, we
yeah,
allow ourselves to take that rest, and then,
yeah,
potentially we can
yeah,
become unwell because we're not holding the fort up enough. Or
exactly.
so it's
So
all about that permission, isn't it?
it's about the homeostatic balance that you need to find to get there. So what people don't
Mm,
generally understand about immunity is like it's like a balanced immune system doesn't overreact. A lot of people have autoimmune related diseases because
yes.
their body is literally attacking itself. So it's properly regulated. Sometimes the therapies in medicine are to suppress the immune system, which then you're going to suffer the downsides of not having that. So you need to take, for example, corticosteroid that suppresses the immune system, and then they have to take an antibiotic because you can't fight off the bacteria. So you're getting these stacks of medications on top of each other, and then you have the side effects of those, and what are those effects going to be? That's one of the issues with not seeing your health as a totality thing. I think that's really important. And the second one is I don't think, and this is something I know you understand, you kind of hinted at it. People don't understand the ability that their mind has to do, how important the mind is. Not just from like the decisions of I'm going to eat this or that, but also from the constant being able to shift into when I need more energy, how to shift my energy up. We teach meditative practices that do it in a natural way, from breathing exercises or whatever, or being able to take yourself into a I need to rest and relax state. That's why you get a lot of people that they're caffeinating themselves in the morning to get themselves going, and then they're
Mm.
alcohol or whatever, some depressant sort of thing, or they'll use exercise to crash themselves at the end. You need to have balance of both. You can't just be in a depressive state where you're just everything's down and
See,
your
that's
energetic
why things
momentum.
like energy drinks exist, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
exactly
you
it.
and that in itself potentially, I wonder whether that can become addictive, whether it's the feeling or that you get from it, or
Well,
maybe the sugar. I'm not sure.
you want to stay in balance, right? So
Mm,
when I was younger, very younger, I was very depressed. No one would describe me as depressed today, but I was very, very depressed when I was. And what a part of the reason why, and this is one of the things that people don't understand, it's why we have a food component, is people do not understand how the way they're eating is creating how they feel.
okay.
They don't
Interesting.
realize that because let's say you're in you're kind of having a depressed day. You
Yeah.
know that hit of sugar, that sweet thing is going to it's going to make you feel a little better. And it's easy. It's right there. You grab it.
Yeah.
But then you get a really big peak in your blood glucose, and then you're going to have an insulin
And then you're
reaction.
going to
It's
have
going to
that
bring it
crash.
down, and
Yeah.
everybody knows that crash, and then you're hungry. And when you get those really sharp drops, that stimulates more hunger. So then you go back to more sugar, and you kind of get in this vicious cycle. So what ends up happening, the byproducts of this, there's a lot of information about what this does. It overstimulates the dopamine centers in your brain, and people who are depressed want to feel anything that's good. So they go for these really easy fixes and they end up feeling worse, like any addict does. Same thing happens with whatever cocaine or alcohol or whatever drug you want to use. You'll get an initial reaction, but eventually you're going to end up worse than you started.
But do you think some of that is because, I don't know, this is a bit of a general statement, but
Yeah,
as human beings, I wonder if we're wired for instant gratification, or
absolutely.
whether it's just in some personalities or something that we're wired for instant gratification. So
I think there's
you want
definitely
that
some.
instant thing
Yeah.
that's going to make it work or make you feel better.
Yeah, well, that goes also absolutely. People don't. I Another thing too, and this is maybe important. we believe, and this is really maybe important to say this, which makes Iron Clad very unique. Um, we believe that we have a concept in Ironclad of seasons. And what we mean by an Ironclad season is like twice a year we guide people individually through our process. We do that in the beginning of fall, and then we end around the first week of December, and then we have another spring session. We're in our spring session right now, and we're almost done. We are working on building an on-demand program right now because it's a little bit too difficult to we're getting a little overwhelmed with that. So we'd like to have people that could take an on-demand program too, whatever they wanted. But that's what we're doing, the way we're doing it now. And the reason we have these seasons, it's very consciously taught and understood. We want you like what you like for a reason.
Yeah.
Like I'm drawn to beer because there's something I don't whether if you believe in God or not, or you can just believe in the fact that we have taste buds. I was a chef before I was in college. I mean, I love to eat amazing, good quality food that tastes delicious. And that these amazing meals and these amazing beers and amazing things, like I want to live and enjoy and use the sensations that I was given. There's like, for example, fast for a few days and then have a strawberry and you'll have an amazing experience. It's
Amazing.
like
Yeah.
it's like this is like the heavens nectar, you know?
But then that's
So
where the willpower comes into it, to not eat all of the strawberries,
right,
you
right.
know,
Well, yeah, but
and everybody else's as well.
yeah, right. Or maybe eat all the strawberries and then get sick and feel like, well, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. But for example, but the idea is to have a season of restriction. And this is one of the problems. People, our bodies are built this way. We have a ketogenic energy system. The ketogenic system is what causes us to lose weight. It really, really does an amazing job. Cancer cells live on sugar. So when we're in a ketogenic state, we can't, cancer cells generally can die, especially if you do, like I'm doing right now, I'm on the second day of a fast. I like to go at least three because that really helps to wipe out cancer cells in your body. So my immune system gets upregulated right now. 80% of your immune system is around your digestive tract to protect you from all the things that you eat. So my immune system right now is all these cells are being activated going through my body, especially when I'm dealing with doing like I am doing these different meditations to help kind of keep everything going, reduce my energy, self-direct things that I want to have focused on. Um, that it really is a powerful way to have this, but it's really difficult. In fact, I would say probably not healthy to stay in this well, fasting. You can't do it indefinitely. You're going to die. So you have to be able, right? You can't just all be in one state. You can't be in just a growth state. We are built,
So it's
we are
so
natural
it's about
seed.
that. So potentially, apologies because I get a bit excited to speak. So it's about that the reset and then starting again. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, the fast in itself is the reset, and
Hmm.
then you're good to go again.
Yeah,
Um,
and to celebrate those things. So
yeah.
throughout the process of a gauntlet, people learn to let go of things that they don't want to have. Like for example, I don't generally, after one of my very first experiences with Ironclad, I don't eat sugar. It's just
Okay.
not a thing that I eat. Like that's why I don't have ice cream. Um, I do one of my reasons that I like one of my sort of like weaknesses, I guess you could say in some aspects, are ritual as it has to do with and social pressure. Ritual somewhat less, but social pressure somewhat more. So if I were to come over to your house and you bake me some sort of sweet cake or something, and you're like, I baked this for you, please, and you don't know that I don't have sugar, and you're like, please try it. I might say no, but I'll probably have a bite, and I can appreciate it. It's not like I'm gonna die or anything. And if I like it, I'll maybe have two. But it's not a part of my identity, if that makes sense. So I don't eat it. But I used to. I used to drink Coca-Cola and eat all that stuff, and the reason I don't is because what it does to me now, I don't like how I feel when I have it. So it's a part of
So
my identity that like I don't drink cola. If I ever have some, it's like it's bizarre. It tastes really weird. And I used to drink it all the time.
so some of this, right, I'd just like to say that I want to say obviously, but maybe it's not obvious. All of this comes with no judgment. So anybody listening to this, there's absolutely no judgment. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
within
yeah.
within
Totally.
NLP, I always say there's no right, there's no wrong, like it just is.
No.
These are just kind of things that we're bringing that have worked for us, that can pay forward to help other
Yep.
people. Like
And
with what I do, it helped me through my
yeah,
depression. It could help somebody else, it may
it's
not, you
very,
know,
yeah,
but it comes with
excellent
no
point.
judgment. Yeah,
Excellent point. There is none. I mean, with even these things, because everyone struggles, we all struggle on different stuff. It's about
yeah, of
learning.
course.
Because people, I'll get judged all the time. They'll see like, oh, the big health guy who started Ironclad, here he is at a beer festival drinking beer with his friends. Yeah, well, they don't see me fasting for 4 days now, but you know what I mean? Like, but it's not about that. It's really easy to say that. The
Yeah, but
funny
see,
thing is,
I could get judged as well because I'm
yeah.
like with food related stuff. Um, I'm vegan,
Mhm.
and the possible like misconception that I have generally from people is that I'm really healthy. You
Yeah.
know, I'm gonna be the one with my face in that ice cream.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was vegan for a number of years, so I
do
don't,
you
I'm not
get it? People
anymore, but
assume that, you know, you either don't eat a lot or
yep.
you know, you're really, really healthy. And I'm like, look, I've got those kind of little food voices as well that say eat me, you know, whether it's all the sugars and all the rest of it. So I don't have added sugar, but I don't necessarily cut sugar out. So, you know,
Yeah.
potentially I could actually dig into that junk food. It's only that I try and get my mind to override things and say, look, it's not, you're not going to feel good afterwards,
You know, no,
you know.
well,
Um,
the problem, and this is for me personally, I know people who are, we have ironcladders who are vegan. It's challenging. It's more challenging, I think, because you really have to know the recipes and really be well prepared for that. It's definitely very doable. Um,
but
it's
it comes in the same though for people that have allergies or maybe intolerances or kind of
yeah.
dairy or, you know, things have to be adjusted sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, well, of course, and sometimes, for example, we have a phase in Ironclad where we remove all toxins, and people say, "Well, I
Okay.
need to take my medication." Of course, you do. We've had Ironcladders, for example, who are taking chemo and going through a bunch of different stuff, and you adapt things to get them through there. The thing about what Ironclad is a community of people. So we've been doing this for years and years now, and people continue to come back, and people rock it for 3 months, and then they go back and they kind of fall back into their own patterns. They've changed, and some of them make long-term changes that are at a deeper level. And some people have a bad week or two and they come back and they feel ashamed, but it isn't about that.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, I don't know any addict that really enjoys their addiction. You know, like it's not, there's no pleasure in it. It's not like if you eat, you're drinking all this beer or whatever, alcohol or whatever it is. I really, when I go to a beer festival, I really enjoy it. And if I have some sugar or candy or something, if someone were gave it to me and I wanted it, I'd have it. I'd really enjoy it. I don't enjoy that stuff, so I don't have it anymore because my tastes have changed, and I'm part of it
Yeah.
because my identity has changed. That's one of the things, for example, with being a vegan that I struggle with a lot is that I was eating a lot more sugar to get and
Yeah.
it caused those spikes in my glucose. And I didn't like how that made me feel over the long
See,
haul.
I tend to know the places that I can go because
Yeah.
a lot of the time, especially being vegan or having dietary restrictions as such, whether that's for medical reasons or personal,
Yep.
um, it's not as easy just to go out and get something.
Right.
You know, it's you actually start to see how much we're driven towards all the sugars and the fats and the,
Yep.
you know, the things in, I suppose a lot of it's to do with processed foods and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but as you've said, Ironclad isn't just about food, is it? It's
No.
the mind as well. It's your mind and your body.
The food is more like the way, like similar as what I'm doing, like with the fast. The fast isn't really about food, is it? It's about everything other than. It's about how do you feel good without that? What meditation practices can I utilize? I get a tremendous amount of stuff done when I'm on a fast because I don't have to worry about cooking and preparing food and all that sort of stuff. And I trust me, as a chef and everything, I eat really well. We have really, really wonderful meals. I love going to gourmet restaurants and stuff like that. I eat amazing when I'm in that phase. I
I
think the
wonder
thing.
whether, right, you say, sorry,
Go ahead, go ahead.
you say you say that because you're not having to prepare meals or think about that, so you get more done. But I
Right.
wonder whether initially you would get more done to take your mind off not wanting to cook or not wanting to do anything else.
Well, maybe one day, as Ironclad grows, we've thought about this, having people through the process because we do have, as we go through, we'd like to with our YouTube channel, we have some recipes on there. We'd like to have more.
Okay,
We'd
that's
maybe to have like a
interesting.
whole kind of thing that there's recipes everybody can make or a variety of stuff. Maybe a whole cookbook will come out one day. Because I did do a lot of cooking and some of our members are really high quality chefs and we've kind of come up with some really kind of cool things that we can make that are really delicious. And they don't take a tremendous amount of work, but they do take some. But it is a time. And the other thing too, now, you know what really is cool, Fran, nowadays, you could probably go online and order all the stuff you need via various
Yeah.
sort of services now. There's a lot more options online for people, especially if you plan it out right, where you can order particular types of food or whatever based on what season you're in. But for us in
Mm.
Ironcut, the thing I want maybe the big thing about season to mention is that it's and a lot of the beginning ironcladders don't understand this. They get to the end of the first gauntlet of 3 months, and they're like, I'm gonna never change. I'm never gonna go back to doing this, that, or the other thing. And we try to tell them you were drawn to that for a reason,
Yeah.
and it's not about you need to learn because to have a balanced life, you need to be able to go out, even though I'm this health expert, and overcome all these really and help people really beat really amazing diseases. um, I still go to a festival and have a hot dog and drink beer and I mean, because what kind of quality life is this when you have to live this super restrictive, you know? And I'll go to
So it does,
places
so
and
it does come down to discipline though, doesn't it? It's that
yeah,
discipline.
it
Yeah.
absolutely does. And to understand that, like, I'm not gonna, or what are the best options here for me based on where I'm at in this in what season, and of course to plan accordingly. But I go out, I want to have a good time. And a lot of times the weird thing is like I don't eat very much bread, but when I go to a place and I have to get some, it tastes like dry dough for the most part. You know what I mean? Like it's like what it is. And it's like it doesn't taste like food to me anymore.
Yeah.
Or
It
like
is
a
possible
pizza.
for your taste buds to change and
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
isn't it? It
that's
is
that's one of the
possible.
main things people say after the first season. Like pizza is weird. It's like it's not a food. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like where food is something that you can like if you look at it, we have a saying in Dutch, weet what you ate, which means know what you eat. I know what a tomato is. I even know what like a stew is. You put tomatoes and you put a piece of meat, or you put stuff in a pot, and some maybe say an Indian curry. You put stuff in there, the lentils. You get all your stuff, your coconut. You get your spices in there, some onions, some
Yeah.
garlic. You get it bubbling. I know what all that stuff is, but I don't know what is in a pizza dough and these weird things. What's the cheese? What kind of is that? I mean, the whole idea of milk as a vegan, I think you'll understand this. And I'm
Yeah.
not, like I said, no judging anybody because I have
No, no
cheese
judging.
sometimes when it's gourmet. I have these things that are produced, but it's because I want to try the experience of it. We are the dominant species on Earth because we've learned how to utilize and get energy from all these cool sources. And there's whole
Right,
cultures everywhere.
I feel like the overarching thing with this particular part of our conversation is that awareness. So it's being aware of what you're
Yeah,
putting into your body. And with your mind, it's being aware of the thoughts that you're having.
yeah.
Um, and that discipline for me comes into it because I'm very prone to depression. I love sitting with negative thoughts. Or there's just such a safety for me in there because it's familiar. I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
right for me, but it feels familiar, so it feels safe. And I've had to override that. So every time I have those negative thoughts about myself, I
Uh-huh.
consciously catch it and have to say something positive instead. And I try and reframe it and flip it around. So it's kind of that overarching thing of, for me, it's being aware of all of my thoughts all the time, just so that I can make sure that I keep my mind healthy. And with your body, it's being
Would
aware of
you,
what you're putting into it, isn't it? What you're
I, I,
doing to
w-
yourself.
I have a challenge for you.
Go on.
You want to try this? This
Yeah.
is right up. This is kind of right up your alley.
Yeah, go on.
I'll give a little bit of a background of where this came from. So this is a example, long, long, long. God, probably one of the best books I ever read. This is when I was I think I was 22 or 23. Was Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. Do you know the book?
No, I'm
No?
not familiar with that.
Amazing book if you can get it. Don Miguel Ruiz. It's called The Four Agreements. It's a short book. It's probably about like this size, not very big. Um, One of the best books I've ever just I got all his books. Loved it. But basically, I won't get into it. What those things? You can check that out yourself. I'm sure some people watching this know what it is. It's a pretty famous book. Um, Basically, what I did, and this is the challenge that I'm going to challenge you to do. It became a big discussion in my family, um, and what we decided to do as a result. It was a challenge. And this is the challenge I have for you. Okay, a really good one up your alley. Do not. I want to challenge you to just go the rest of the day, maybe the rest of this weekend. Okay, and you may not use negative words. You may not speak anything in the negative. Okay?
Okay.
That means you can't say no, or you can't say any. We can do it now for a little while just to just to pretend it, right? I did this with my girlfriend, love of my life, mother of my daughter. I did this with her about a month ago. We got in a conversation about something, how she was struggling with this negative thought stuff. You know, she's being negative about herself. She said, "Let's try this as an example." So if you do this experiment, what you'll really quickly realize is how quickly less than positive things, right? So avoiding saying even the word negative, how quickly less than positive things just spring into your brain.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I'm not going to do, well, do you like this? Instead of saying, I don't like it, you'd say, well, I like other things a lot more, right? Just it's an amazing mind exercise to do that and to catch yourself and to see how quickly you say things negatively instead of like,
And it's a great example of that reframing as well.
yeah.
Okay, so it's like that, but how can we
Yeah,
say
and
it
coming
differently?
up with
Yeah, I like
incredibly,
that.
so you're getting your brain to come up with these incredibly creative ways of not using just negative verbiage. You can't
Yeah.
speak it. And you'll see how quickly the negativity it'll change your mood in so many ways because you literally, through the language inside your brain, are just as a challenge, just to see, and what Kyan found and is so quickly, she's like, you can really do this. It's like, well, I used to do this for like long periods of time. When I came to the Netherlands and I learned Dutch, right? I'm fluent in Dutch. I removed all negative words from my language. I could just not learn how to say anything in a negative way. I could just say everything always in a positive spin. So, and it really does affect how your mind works, how your energy works, how that goes. So give that one a
Yeah.
try. It can
Yeah,
be.
will do. I like that. And it can be a challenge for anybody listening as well.
Yeah,
Um,
if you're stuck in any sort of negativity, there's two things. That and the other thing too, it's this is well known, same kind of idea is, and it's one thing we do constantly in Ironclad is we are really in active gratitude a lot. We spend a lot of time talking to people about getting them to really, and when I'm saying active gratitude, I mean uh, really, we spend a lot of time in our one-on-one sessions, in our group sessions, talking about what we're grateful for,
yeah.
about our
So it's,
bodies.
so it's also being conscious, being conscious, isn't it? Being consciously
Yep.
grateful. And
It
yeah,
really, I mean, and in the things that deeply matter, and you can see people when we start with them, a lot of them people don't have experience with gratitude at all, or they don't, or they kind of stay upper surface. It's really easy, by the way, when it's your birthday party and you've got all these gifts and everyone's there and you know, you're like, I got so much to be grateful for. It's much more amazing to do that when you're broken and you're having a really bad day and you learn a tremendous, like sometimes it's like we always have so many things that we're breathing. I see this all the time with patients and other people that grateful that you got another day. Be grateful that you're here, you know, watching this and listening to it. Just the fact that you can breathe in and out, and you know, there's so much beauty and wonder in the world, so much to love as well.
I see.
Um,
I completely hear you. I do. And I've switched a lot of that around myself since, starting on my own journey with the NLP and the mindfulness and everything.
mhm.
You're talking to somebody who, right, I'm going to be completely honest here. So cover your ears, anybody listening, if you don't want to hear it. If if somebody had previously told me that you can choose to be happy, you can be, you can have sincere gratitude and be conscious about it, and that you can choose to be happy, probably have thought about, I wouldn't have acted upon it, but I'd have thought about punching them in the face. Because how annoying can you be to say something like that? It's not true. Like I would never have believed it. to be true. And it would have actually have irritated me. I would have felt irritated about it.
Yeah.
Because how can it be true? And since then, like sometimes I think about that. I think about how I think I would have reacted, you know, because I would have shrugged. I know I would have shrugged it off because anybody that would say to me like, "Oh, but you know, why are you so depressed all the time?" I just shrug it off all the time. Like, you don't know. It's like it's just part of me. It's in my bones. I can't be any other way. And because I didn't
Yeah.
see any other way, because it couldn't be true. How can it be true if you don't believe that it could be a fact?
Well, you have to, yeah, exactly. I 100% with you. One thing I noticed about a lot of different art collectors myself is this is a great example for me. I struggled a lot with perfectionism. And
Okay.
perfectionism really saps at it's been an incredible driver in my life. The things that I've done and learned, it's been because I'm kind of very relentless and perseverant, and I'm very stubborn. I don't give up. But a part of that comes from this perfectionism. And I was thinking this has got really wonderful qualities for success in life and all these other sorts of things. But it's a torturous thing. I'll
Mm.
do amazing things, and I'm like, well, of course you should do that. That's what that's the only thing. And the only solution I found for that, really that works in switching that is gratitude. Because perfectionists, the best they get are like, well, of course you should do that. That's the minimum you should expect from yourself, kind of thing. As opposed to which is basically a constant message, self-messaging of it's not enough, it's never enough, it's never enough, you're never enough, or the situation isn't enough, or you've got to do more, or you could have done better. When
You
the
see,
exact
I've come to realize that things like emotional awareness and emotional intelligence and that is not a given. Like we have to
Yeah,
learn that and we have to be aware of it.
yeah.
So, my my revelation about being incredibly irritated by happy people, you know, said more about myself and my own understanding of the world and learning. So now I'm not irritated by happy people. I love them. Um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I do understand um, that kind of depression side of it. And, you know, I know we're on a challenge here, but the negativity, I understand it.
yeah. Well, we do
Because
for the
I've
sake
been
of
there.
discussion. It's probably better to put that one on pause. But try that negative. uh, Really give that a shot.
Yeah.
Especially in your relationships with other people, with talk, just really give it a try to speak nothing negative. To see if you can and see how quickly, yeah, that's a challenge and when and what areas. It's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah. Because that helps with your own self-awareness as well.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah,
Um,
it's really cool. Yeah,
right.
thank
I've
you.
got another specific
All right.
question for you. How do you envision the community of ironclad warriors growing and evolving in the future?
Uh, that's pretty cool. We spent a lot of time on that actually, because what Ironclad is really a community of people. We
Mhm.
are a kind of a movement in that regard, and the reason is we need each other to transform. I kind of say like it was me and God were the first ones, and then after that we just. But I couldn't have done it. There's some things that I feel are just divinely inspired. I don't exactly know where some of the stuff we do comes from, but it's really really powerful and it works and it comes from that sort of space of we talk about the Atman is what they talk about it in Yoga Nidra, but it's like it's the space where all health and love and joy flows from. So, but we do it with other people. The power of we've never done Ironclad without a group. We've always had it. Even the first group was a group of 10, and we've grown steadily since then. And so the community of people, what we're going to stick with is having a spring and a fall group with a break
Okay.
time in between to do with the seasons. And we're working right now on that will always be live. So that's always a live group of people with new information, new meditations, new and different things, and it allows the power of the community of the people that are in there. Right now, we do 2 live Zooms a week with the members, and and then the rest of the stuff's all via, we use a Slack app right now to do that, to disseminate everything, and people are on in a private Slack app. We are very, one of the things about Ironclad in our community that's really important to mention is we have famous people. We have people for a variety of reasons don't want their identity to be widely known. So we're very
Yeah.
protective of people's privacy. It's people's health. And there's other reasons why. Like some people, we have doctors, for example, that take Ironclad. They don't, that are themselves health coaches to help other people. They don't necessarily want to be out there for. It doesn't matter to us. We regard the privacy of everybody. So the community is a community of people who come together to help each other heal. And it really is something that grows the primary ways via the other ironcladders themselves. And why this is important, it helps us. For example, if you were an ironcladder and you went through you love it, you think it's amazing, and then you tell other people, the next season you are much more likely to push yourself a little bit harder, go a little bit deeper, go better, because you've got people that are looking up to you who are in there. So we've got a lot of that goes on. It grows kind of like in that sort of a way.
Yeah.
Um, but we are to the point too where eventually for us it gets challenging to be able to keep up with numbers. That's why we're working with an automated program that people can do that first. And then afterwards, if they need more help and assistance, they can join our live groups. Or if they're this is like totally for me, I love it. Get in
Okay.
there.
So would the automated program, would that, so I'm guessing that would work the same as like an evergreen program. So
Yeah, and
it would be
well, the other
pre-written and
yeah, evergreen type of thing. Yeah, exactly. We are not we don't have an automated one yet. We're working on that, putting it
right,
together.
okay.
One of the reasons also it's become more important is we have to have a version that's dedicated for people who have cancer, because cancer people like let's say you cancer patients need help immediately. They need to be able to start right away, and other people want to start right away. A lot of people should, but some people struggle when they get on there with motivation. Like, well, yeah, it doesn't really fit in my schedule right now. I don't have the time. Generally, most cancer patients are like, I have all the time in the world. Whatever it is going to make me live another day, please. So we need something that they can on demand start on kind of like right away. That's one of the things. For example, if we just started, we're 2 months into our group. We're done at the end of this month. And then we won't start again until September. So if somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I really need your
Right.
help," I'm gonna just basically have to wait, and that's happened before. So we really need to have some sort of an automated program for those people that can get in there, and then they might have questions and need help and other stuff. The live groups are the best, I think, because that's where we tailor things. We can answer specific questions. We
Yeah.
can tweak stuff, whereas the automated program is less like that. And we don't really have it fixed yet, so we kind of know what we're going to do. We've been doing the same thing for a long time, and we know what works and what doesn't. But but we don't have it automated yet. But that's where we're going. So there'll be an automated version for people, and then there'll be the twice a year live groups for the folks. When we have terminology for this stuff too, so everybody who's watching this, maybe Fran, you could consider yourself to be what we call ironclad curious.
Yep.
So you're curious about what it is. You don't really know what it is. Once people decide, they go on a really important call with us, the Ironclad Breakthrough Call, and on that call, we kind of get you down to your reason why. This season, every season has a name. This is the season of why in Ironclad. We've had the season of power, we've had the season of Kiara, we've had the season of transformation, but this is the
Yeah.
Ironclad season of why. And the reason is it's really Ironcladders this season are really getting in touch with their reason why they want to transform, what their reason to transform is, and really breaking it down to something that deeply matters. So, like, I'll give you an example where this came from. I had a patient, the patient who was struggling with his weight. He was always overweight, and saw him for years. And he came in one day, and he's slowly losing weight. And I saw him a couple months later, and he'd kept the weight off. And then, 3 months after that, he'd still, I'm like, man. You're looking great. What did you do? He's like, well, my wife. And I said, your wife? Yeah, like I think, what did she say to you? She's like, no, 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 it's not like that. He's like, I didn't tell you this, but my wife, her last kidney is being rejected. His wife had kidney disease,
Wow.
and the kidneys were being rejected. And the doctor said, you can donate one of yours, but you have to maintain your weight at a specific level for six
Okay.
months. That's a why. That's a reason why, other than I just want to look better when I go to the beach.
And
Or
that's a really big motivation as well.
do you,
But the
so right?
but see, the thing is, when it comes to why, so therefore, why is similar to a motivation, isn't it? Because you're motivated towards your why. But
Yeah,
then as human beings, we all have different motivators, and we're
right,
motivated in different ways. So
right.
that obviously
Yeah,
that situation found his motivation to
yeah.
strive towards his why.
And then he was able to stick to the thing because he thought about her every day. He saw her every day. It's like, I'm constantly reminded of this. If I don't do this, I might lose the woman I love, So
Mhm.
that's a deep motivation. For me, the motivation, my first motivating thing for Ironclad came from a moment a long time ago when I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I was. And I felt terrible. And I just knew in my soul, I knew that if I just kept going in this direction, I wasn't going to be around a long time. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to be there for my children and for my family and for my patients because I'd gone through a breakup and things were really tough and I was in a really, really, really bad spot. And I remember catching myself in the mirror and being like, who is this person? And really coming to an idea of like, I need to do something or, this isn't the kind of quality of life I want to live. I hate how I feel. And I just had this really ominous feeling that if something didn't change, I wasn't going to be around for a long time. I was going to, some sort of disease or sickness was going to kind of take me. And I'd seen enough of that with my patients. I didn't want to be one of those people, and I wanted to really change my life and my health. I wanted to figure this out. I had all this information in my head, all this stuff about, well, this is how you're supposed to change, and you're supposed to do this and do this diet.
Yeah.
But I didn't know why none of it worked, and none of it worked because I was focusing on the sort of what to do, like I would do this and do that and do this and this plan, this diet plan, and I wasn't focusing on like how I thought. I wasn't thinking about the meditative practices and the processes. So what Ironclad is a kind of synergy of all those things
Yeah.
together. Having the commitment of a group with you, having people that genuinely care about you, that have the knowledge and expertise to help you, depending on what your situation is because probably everything that's out there, we've seen it. But also, really being able to connect you to what matters. And the other
Mhm.
thing too with Ironclad is Ironclad's very simple. It's not very complex.
See, it also kind of brings to mind that everybody's got their own timeline as such. So
Mhm.
therefore, somebody that's already in ironclad and ready for it, wouldn't necessarily be the person that's curious. So the Fran that's curious
Right,
may not be ready.
right.
So it can't, these things can't happen until you're ready. But
Yeah.
you're not to know when people are ready, are you?
No,
So
no, no. And well, part of the process is, when people are interested in us, they get a form that they fill out, a short form, and it gives us
okay,
questions to
yeah.
get a sense of like what sort of health issues are they dealing with. And the other thing too is, and this is why with everybody that's become Ironclad, they all go through the breakthrough call. And on that call, we talk to them about their situation and we get a sense of like, and generally what happens, you either come out of that with they're like, they want to do Ironclad and we want them to join. Sometimes they're interested in it, but we don't think they're the right fit for us because the people are going to be with us forever, right? So it's like, it's kind of like a marriage, but like you're joining the family, It's like, so you're in with us, with everybody as part of the group. And then you also have other individuals who are like, yeah, this is perfect for me. We want you in, but they don't want to for a variety of reasons, or it's not the right time. They want to, but not right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
So, and all those things can happen. Sometimes that's because, and on the breakthrough call, the call really isn't about whether go ironclad or not. It's about figuring out the core of what their problem is, and they're getting them down to their deep reason why like
Yeah.
like what they're really struggling with. And then sometimes it's just you're doing amazing. Add this, that, or the other thing in there. You need to practice this kind of meditative practices. It'll really help you, or like you need to work on X, Y, or Z. So sometimes it's directing people to other practices or other things that can help them because that's
Well, so
where we
other resources as well. So I presume
yeah.
because you've got a YouTube channel, so I presume that would come under a resource for
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
aren't necessarily in Ironclad, but they could
yep.
subscribe to your YouTube channel and consume your content, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and then
I
that's a
need to do more
resource
with
for
our
them.
YouTube channel for sure. What I do have, I have a lot of stuff on social media, different posts I've done. about
Yeah.
variety
So
of
they're all
concepts
resources
and
as well,
things.
aren't they, for
Yeah,
people? So they can
we have a
still kind of
Facebook
come
group as
into your
well.
world.
Yeah, we have a Facebook group as well, the Iron Clad Immunity Community.
And I see, I was going to mention
You
that.
can join that. Yeah.
You
No,
get
it's
them
cool.
for
It's
me.
cool. But in that Facebook group, we help give people a lot of posts are in there throughout the years. We've been that was one of the first things we ever made years and years ago. So that's been there forever. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to be able to help people and guide people through all that. But where's the community going to go? We're going to continue to grow. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where other ironcladders will help start other groups because we just can't maintain everything, and that's where it's probably going to grow, kind of grow and spread like that. And we'll keep doing what we're doing every twice a year, and for the people that want to hang out. And the other cool thing where I'd like to go as well is because the way I look at meditation, meditative practices, they're all designed to kind of get us to the top of the hill. So a lot of times what happens in our live sessions is explaining maybe the biomedical stuff with why we're taking away a particular type of food or dealing with a particular type of mental struggle somebody's having, or talking about different meditative practices that will help them through what they're going through. For example, like the example I just gave you, if you're stuck in negative thinking, try speaking only positively for a weekend and see what that does, where you have to constantly be aware of like, wait a minute, like, and then when you go into your automatic rhythm of like, oh, with my family, my kid, whatever, you immediately go back into this natural flow, your partner, yeah, all right, at work, whatever.
It's like a reprogramming.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. And the first part of that, if you think about like for Iron too, the first part is the awareness
Mm.
that you're what you even say. Because people are they're like I said, people are unconscious most of the time. They just sort
Yes.
of react out of an unconsciousness. So fasting for me is a huge reset. It blasts out all of my mind, my body, everything is kind of put into a bubble. And that's kind of what Ironclad does. It's a gauntlet in a way that really helps people to sort of get a new perspective on life and to change, to make really deep, directed change. The other thing, too, to say about this is what we actually do in Ironclad at the end is people build a new identity. So Ironclad has built a new
I like
name,
that.
and their new identity is based on who they want to become. And they will work on that throughout the process. So it's a great thing because a lot of people, their issues boil down to the identity. Well, I just told you several of my identities. Like I'm a doctor, that's an identity, but it's
Yeah.
also I'm a beer drinker. I like special beer. That's an identity. If I really don't want to have beer anymore, I need to change that identity. I don't do that anymore. Right.
And
So
sometimes there are things that are adopted as our identity that aren't
absolutely,
necessarily
they're
what
unaware.
we would choose,
Yeah, and they're unaware of
you
it,
know.
right? So instead of learning, hey, I can make a conscious choice, and through every gauntlet at the end, we just do we like the identity that we've chosen for ourselves, who we're working to be? Do we want to change that? Do we want to create something else? And a lot of these things go so much deeper than, and I want to lose some weight or something. Or even the disease, they start off with that because it's incredibly important. You're not going to be able to do anything for your family and friend if you're in your business if you're sick, you're not focused, you're not thinking well. That has to be like the basics. And then later on, people can transform in other ways that they want. So that's really like as we've gone further advanced, we could bring in other people into our into the community. We could have a lot of different kind of guests come and help with different meditative
Yeah.
practices or some other ideas. We've got last season we had in the season of power, we did some more power building, physically strength. We came up with something called the Ironclad Gorilla. Like get your inner gorilla to come out, go
Yeah.
lift hard, do that kind of those types of things. So there's a really kind of cool uniquenesses and things we have with every season that make it kind of cool. But the basis is always the basis. It's getting people to become aware of like what's going on with them, what their
Yeah.
habits and patterns are bringing in them, and that we do that in really cool ways in the process of the gauntlet. Second month is kind of starting to sort of buckle down and to make transformation, and last month is really hardcore transformation. It's where people really push the pedal of the metal and really make stuff, and then we end with the Metatonia, which is our closing weekend. Which metatonia, what that means is deep transformation through penitence.
Oh,
So it's like you've gone through a
sounds
religious,
intriguing.
like almost a
Yeah.
religious experience,
Yeah.
and but you've also been penitent. like what Catholics or Catholics used to do with Easter, how they have the Easter Lent, they would fast and they wouldn't, they would abstain from something, and then you have Easter Sunday as a big party. It kind of has
Yeah.
elements of
Wow.
that in there. Yeah.
Big party.
Well, that's what it sort of
I
was.
know.
Like Jesus is risen, and like I
Yeah.
remember doing that as a kid. Like, okay, no, we don't get to have candy for this time. And then I get a big Easter basket and gorge out in it. So that's not what we
Yeah.
recommend ironcladders do. Just go back to all their worst stuff at the end. But it is about celebrating and feeling good and enjoying those things. And the real cool thing is, how do you change your tastes? For example, breaking all your sugar for a period of time and then coming back at the end and having some again, you realize I don't really like this that much. It's not really what I wanted. So you can't know that unless you have a break from it. So you need to take time away. So like I said, like right
That's
now, you give me
interesting.
a
Yeah, it's very
strawberry.
true.
Yeah, you give me a strawberry right now, it's going to be the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life. I'm not having one because I get to eat in a couple days, but anyway. But thank you for your time. I really like this. This is a
Right,
really
I
good
love
chat.
that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask you just a little favor. Please, can you so I've been calling you Dr. Ben. Can you please say your surname because I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it?
Yeah, Dr. Benjamin Zacherl.
Zacherl. I thought it was, and I wasn't sure whether to put more accent on the E or like
It's Zacherl.
Zacherl or
Yeah, it's German from Austria, but that's Zacherl is how
Dr.
I
Ben
was
Zacherl.
taught it. Although if you go down
Right.
to to that area, they say Zacherl, but yeah, that's what they say. But yeah,
I can say Zacherl, so we'll stick
Zacherl is
to
great. Thank you. Thank you very much,
right.
Fran.
So yeah, so thank you very much for sharing your insights and your experience.
Thank you. It was really wonderful. I'm glad you were the first interview I've done on there. I've got been a couple other
Oh,
things.
amazing.
I've had a couple other set up and they didn't work out and get canceled, but I'm really glad to have done this with you. This is why I do
Well, I'd
this.
love to have you back.
Okay, yeah, yeah. If you want to have me back, let me know. That'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
So I just want to say, so for those of you listening and or watching, those of
Hmm.
you interested in learning more about Dr. Ben Zacherl and
Hmm.
his work, you could visit his YouTube channel, which is Ironclad Immunity 6910.
Hmm.
On Facebook, Benjamin George Zacherl, and the
Hmm.
Facebook group, I believe, is that just called Ironclad Immunity?
I think it's the Ironclad Immunity Community.
That's quite a tongue twister, isn't it? Let's try.
Little rhyme, little rhyme. Ironclad
Ironclad
Immunity
Immunity
Community. The
Community.
Ironclad Immunity Community. Yeah.
Okay. So
Cool.
you can, there are different ways of accessing
We,
Dr.
we have a
Ben.
website too, www.ironclad.com.
Oh,
Uh,
amazing. Thank you.
yeah, and www.ironclad.nl if you're a Dutch speaker. But that's yeah, and there's other stuff too, but that's great. People can reach out to me if they have any questions. They can also send an email at info at ironcladimmunity.com and I'll get it.
Thank you.
Reach out to me on whatever social media. I'm not, to be real honest, Fran, I'm not a huge social media lover because it's kind of opposite what we do in Ironclad. But you got to be available for people
It's
to,
it's a way of people either getting resources so that you
yeah,
can kind of nurture that interest or
mhm,
um, just a means to an end of communication, isn't it?
absolutely.
So
But it does. We have helped people through that. So. But it's not my I'm not a huge fan of social media. But I'm there.
yeah,
It's because I'm a fan. Just because I don't. It's not something for me. You know what it is? It's that it's a weird thing, and people have told me this before. It's that as much as I love helping people, because that's my heart goal. It's what I love to do. Absolutely love it. It's what my life's devoted to. I'm not a person who needs the there's people they need this attention. I don't need that. I the only reason I spend as much time on social media and the things that I do is just to get people attention so that people know what we do and I'm able to help more people. I don't
yeah.
have.
But see, that's the whole. Because again, gonna say no judgment. Those wanting attention or go get
Yeah.
it. Absolutely no judgment. But I feel like there's another big conversation to be had there because that sparked a lot of things in my mind actually about like the intentions and the things that we do for different reasons. And I feel like we're going to come back to that one. So
Deal.
so for today, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Um,
It's been wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
um, so if you're interested in more content like this, be sure to check out the Melancholy Coaching on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube as well. And until next time, stay curious, keep igniting your creative potential. Um, check out Dr. Ben and come and find me as well. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you for joining me on the Melancholy Coaching Podcast. I'd love you to subscribe. For queries or to connect, email info@melancholymentor.com. Until next time, keep igniting your creative potential.